guys, this is the new 12.9-inch iPad Pro, and it's packed with Apple's latest M1 chip, which is blazing fast. I'm not an Apple fan and I don't use Apple products in my daily life, but I gotta say this delivers a very smooth user experience. Navigation is very snappy, swipes are super smooth, and app openings are just super fast. And the whole user experience is just great. The screen is fluid, it has 120 Hz refresh rate, and it's not just a static refresh rate, it's actually an adaptive refresh rate, which means if you have a static image, like you're reading an article and you're not swiping, or you're just looking at the screen without interacting with it, then it can drop all the way to 1 Hz refresh rate. But when you need it the most, like let's say when you were scrolling an article or when you're playing games, this is when it can go all the way up to 120 Hz refresh rate, and it delivers a super smooth experience. And this is very nice. And it's not just about the experience, it also saves you battery. And that's what's great about it. Now let's talk about the chip. Now the previous chip, which is A12Z, was already super fast. And it would handle any task that you throw at it without a struggle. But this one is just a major spec bump. And when I talk about the spec bump, I don't mean like 5 to 10% that we're used to. But actually, if we look at the benchmarks, so we can tell how big of a bump it is, like for Geekbench, single core performance, the previous chip was delivering 1100, while this one delivers 1700. And for multi-core performance, the previous one was delivering 4600, while the M1 has 7200. So for both multi-core and single core, it's a 52% bump, which is just mind-blowing. I don't think there is a single app or game in the App Store that can cause any kind of struggle or throttling for this iPad. And if you ask me, I would probably speculate that they might be thinking about the future and maybe they're gonna add some desktop apps that are gonna be available for the iPad, but this is just speculation and I don't know if it's actually gonna be true. But it would be nice to have some desktop apps like Final Cut Pro, for instance, or I don't know, any other app that you don't have normally on the iPad. I did a test actually, and I tried to work with the 4K footage in Adobe Rush, and I gotta tell you that the playback is very smooth. When I click, there is no jittering, no struggling at all. It handled it perfectly. And then I applied some effects to it, and I exported that video at 4K, and it was 14 minutes video, and it took exactly 17 minutes. And this is super fast. I would say it's on par, if not faster, than my desktop computer. Now, let's talk about the screen. This 12.9-inch has a different screen than any other iPad and then 11-inch iPad Pro that's the same generation. This one has liquid Retina XDR display compared to a regular liquid Retina display on the 11-inch, which is basically LCD LED display, but this one is the mini LED display, which means we're having smaller LEDs, 20% smaller to be exact than the regular LEDs, that take up the same space, but except we're dealing with more controllable units that can be dimmed. And that what delivers not only the great contrast ratio, which is 1,000,000 to 1 on this one, by the way, but it also delivers you brighter screen and brighter colors. If you look at the previous iPads, and if you look at the 11-inch iPad Pro, you can see that the blacks don't really look black. They're more like washed out grays. But with this one, it actually delivers a perfect looking black. The brightness for this one is 1000 nits max brightness compared to 600 nits on the 11-inch. And it also has brighter HDR, which can go all the way up to 1600 nits. So that means that basically, if you're using this iPad outside in a bright sun, you won't have any struggle watching movies, taking notes, or just working with whatever you're working with. Now let's talk about storage options. The new iPad 12.9-inch Pro that comes with the 5 storage options. It's 128GB, 256, 512, and 1 terabyte, and the new option for this year, which is 2 terabytes. And the 128, 256, and 512 gigabyte options are packed with 8 gigabyte of RAM, while the 1 terabyte and 2 terabyte of storage come with 16 gigabytes of RAM. And I gotta tell you that 16 gigabytes of RAM is a lot of RAM. I mean, even at 8 gigabytes, this experience is just super fast and super smooth. And I'm gonna tell you that I have about 20 apps open, and even if I go to the oldest app, it still picks up where I left it at. And this is just mind-blowing. And the reason for that is not a single app can take up more than 5 gigabytes of RAM. That is the rule set by Apple. So even if we have, let's say, one app taking 5 gigabytes of RAM, the other apps that are in the background, they don't require that much RAM because they're not processing anything at the moment. They're just sitting in the RAM. So I honestly don't know how you can take up that much space to begin with. And that's not mentioning the 16 gigs. Now let's talk about the design real quick. This Apple has the same typical squarey design with rounded corners. It has the power button on the top, volume controls on the right side. It has quad speakers that are very loud and very crisp. And the new thing for this one is it has the Lightning port that delivers the same charging speeds, unfortunately, but it can deliver up to 40 gigabytes per second data transfer speed. And that is really good, especially if you're like a creator that works with 4K footage. So it's gonna be much faster for you to transfer that data to your iPad if you decide to work on your footage with the iPad. Now, in terms of cameras, the rear camera is the same as the previous generation. It has 12 megapixel wide camera that can record up to 4K and 60 frames per second, and it has the 10 megapixel ultra wide camera. But the difference this year is in the front facing camera. The front facing camera now has wider angle. It has a 122 degrees wide angle, which is good, but if you look at it, it distorts the edges. And even if you turn on the distortion stabilization, it doesn't make much difference. So you can still see some distortion at the edges. Well, but this is expected because this is what wide angle does. But the other thing that I really like about it is the CenterStage feature. And what CenterStage is basically, if you have a video call like on Skype or FaceTime, and you're going to be moving and your iPad is going to be, let's say, sitting static on the table, the AI is going to make the camera track your face, and it's going to be following you, trying to keep you in the center. And if you have 2 people, it's going to try to keep 2 people in the center. So this is a really cool feature that I really like. That way, if you're doing like a presentation, you're writing on the board something, or you're presenting something else and you have to make a couple of steps left or right, this is going to track your face and always going to keep you in focus, which is super awesome. If you're going to ask me, who do I think this iPad is for? And I would probably say it's going to be best for students and creators, especially if you can afford it. If you're just a student, there are other options like iPad Air 4 or 11-inch iPad, which is cheaper and basically delivers similar experience. But if you're a serious creator, then this might be a good option for you, because this iPad, it is packed with the most powerful chip. It has a lot of RAM, and it can handle a lot of apps. And it also has the Apple Pencil. The Apple Pencil is actually Gen 2, unlike Gen 1, and it's a little bit different. But this Apple Pencil, it has one flat side, and you can easily attach it to the side, and it's not just only a thing that can help you make it more portable, but it also charges it at the same time, so you never have your Apple Pencil out of charge, because you can only use it when it's charged. So this is a really cool feature, and it also works well with the case, because most case manufacturers make space for the Apple Pencil. So this is really nice, so you can quickly throw it in your backpack or your purse and you're good to go. And it has a really good magnet, so it won't fall off unless you hit it really hard. When you draw with this pencil, it feels super nice. You can do like handwriting for taking notes, and it's going to transfer it to the regular text. Or if you're working in Adobe Lightroom to edit the photos, this is a really nice feature to have. Also, if you work in Procreate and you're a digital artist, this is a really nice pencil. Right, and that was it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching and staying with me today. I really appreciate that. Let me know down in the comments below what you think about the new iPad Pro, and if you have one, what you like and don't like about it. Please give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, and please subscribe for more if you haven't yet. So I'll see you all in the next one.